Hey all, it's the Mad Artist, and today I have another mad story for you. But first, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and thank you so much for watching. Welcome to the channel. So, my boyfriend found this guy, and I had to read more about him, and I wanted to share what I found because, well, it's kinda crazy. Now, I don't fully know how to pronounce this dude's name, so here it is on screen. I'm just gonna call him Götz, because that's just what I'm gonna do, and I'm probably saying that wrong too, so let's just move on. So, he was a poet who wrote his own biography, led mercenary companies in his younger years, had a robot arm, his own castle, a whole bunch of money, and was generally just like every RPG character in history. One could say that Götz was a skillful warrior, as he fought in wars and clan feuds on the front lines for 46 years. But considering that 15 of those bloody battles were caused by and fought in his name, one could also say he was, at the very least, short-tempered. His life was so peculiar and crazy that a play was written about him, detailing his exploits, which included losing his right arm in 1504 when a cannon caused his sword to crash against his body. He was fashioned 2 iron arms as replacements, one with a semi-working hand that he could use to hold objects, including his shield. In the play, we find that Götz was the first person to coin the term "lick my ass" as an insult, and as such, his name in German is sometimes used as a euphemism or as a censor for other vulgar terms. In fact, one of the Nazis' armed merchant cruisers was named after Götz, and it's widely believed that the captain gave it this name in response to Nazi HQ rejecting his initial name. In 1516, he got into a bitter feud with the Archbishop of Mainz, and as a result, he ended up trying to kill the Archbishop at his place, but was forced to settle for kidnapping the local count and holding him for ransom, which of course is just the logical thing to do in that situation. As a result of his crimes and general mischief, he was put under a Holy Roman Imperial ban, which is an official order that strips a person of all rights and possessions and allows anyone in the country to murder or otherwise injure the criminal without repercussions. So bad were his crimes that he was actually put under one of these bans twice in his life. In 1525, Götz was leading a group of rebels during the German Peasants' War, which he joined despite not really caring about the rebels at all, when he just decided one day, I'm tired of the fighting, and he just went home to his lavish castle to wait out the rest of the war. After the peasants failed in their rebellion, he was summoned by the Empire to stand trial for being involved with their revolt. Surprisingly, he was acquitted, but he was also rich and had a history of paying for his crimes, i.e. bribing, and the courts then weren't exactly bastions of incorruption. But then, a few months after his acquittal, he was kidnapped by a group of Imperial loyalists who held him as their prisoner for 2 years, until they made him swear an oath to return to his castle and never leave again in his lifetime. Oaths were a big deal back then, and they were also enforceable by law, so effectively, he was placed under house arrest, where he remained for 18 years. That was until the Emperor thought, he served his time, and just released him from his oath. He spent the remainder of his young years fighting wars until he eventually retired in 1544, having lived quite a remarkable life. It is in these years that he composed and published poetry, wrote his autobiography, and had 10 children by 2 different wives. He died at the then unheard of old age of 82, or 81 according to some sources. Records weren't perfect back then. And now, it's trivia time! So, when I find crazy and silly stories to share, I often find trivia that, while interesting, it's not long enough for a full video. So I'm just going to start adding in a new unrelated fact at the end of these videos. Did you know that in the 19th century, it was believed that vomiting and diarrhea were considered healing activities, purging the body of toxins? Enter the everlasting pill, which was just a solid block of the metal antimony. The metal is highly toxic to humans, and consuming it will cause almost immediate vomiting and intense diarrhea. The body is unable to absorb very much of the metal, so it only digests the very thinnest outer layer of the pill, and then the rest of the pill passes through the digestive system. And the good 19th century housewife would then go and retrieve the pill from whatever waste it was in, wash it off, and give it to the next member of the family who needed a purge. And when it was not in use, the single pill was kept with other medicines in its own separate case, and one could last for generations. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you have other ideas for other man stories, please leave them in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.